This is Texans TV.
Today on the show, training camp is just a few weeks away, and number 56 gets the 53 treatment.
Yeah, I'm the smart guy that headbutt someone with no helmet on.
Texans 360 is now.
We are ready to rock in Houston. Rock and roll.
Oh, let's go!
Guess when you think you've seen it all, there's always something else.
Hello. Welcome into Texans 360. My name is Drew Dougherty. I'm your host. We've got a fantastic show because, hey, look who it is. It's the voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer. How are you?
I'm doing great, Drew. Summertime, it's great. The living is not so easy because, hey, everybody's having a hard time coming out of COVID and doing what they're doing. But doing what we're doing in a few weeks, training camp, the season, let's go.
Hold that thought. I want to get more into that because on this show, we got to do some cheerleader tryouts. We've got to go camping in a different sort of way. And we're going one-on-two with Robert Prince. He's the wide receivers coach for the Houston Texans, and he is a very fascinating guy. But Mark brought it up. News of the week, camp keeps creeping closer and closer, thank goodness. In less than 3 weeks, Texans will be out there hitting it and getting after it at the Houston Methodist Training Center.
Yeah, and you'll have the usual 2-week ramp up to preseason games. I think they'll get into practice a little bit more slowly than it used to be pre-COVID. We'll see how that plays out, but it's going to be fun because you'll have some fan participation at camp, which is huge. You'll have some elevated stands. It's going to look a little different at the Houston Methodist Training Center, but we're going to feel like we did in 19, where you have a camp on Texans campus and get fired up for the season.
Yeah, that was one of the weird things about many weird things in 2020. Not having fans out at training camp, it just felt foreign when you were out there. All right, can you believe that at the 2009 training camp, it's been so long ago, but 2009, that was when Brian Cushing was a pup. He came out with the long hair. It didn't last long, it got shaved off, but it would lead to what would become a Rookie of the Year campaign and a very fine career for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, and he got hurt, I think, in training camp and missed a big chunk of it, but he was Rookie of the Year, like you said. The Texans defense that year, and thanks in large part to him and D'Amico Ryans, Mario Williams, they finished 13th, which at the time was their highest finish ever, till a couple of years later when they finished second. But that was a good year for them on that side of the football, the first winning campaign. And again, Cushing launched his career with that, eventually becomes the leading tackler in the history of the franchise. And I know we have more on him.
He set it up perfectly, so let's check this out. It's a 53 on number 56, Brian Cushing.
Intense, of extreme force or degree of strength. That is a definition with which linebacker Brian Cushing is all too familiar.
What kind of man are you, Sharp? What kind of man? I challenge everyone you step up. Make the choice. Jump or champ.
Brought down by Cushing in the backfield. And picked off Brian Cushing. Brought down to the backfield by Brian Cushing.
How's that celebration?
Touchdown, Houston! Welcome back, Brian!
Hey, if you guys really want, just stay out here for the first series. I'll go out by myself. Yeah. I'll do it, seriously. 1 versus 11, I like my odds.
You know, it was awesome because Cush was like the attitude of your team. How he practiced, how physical he was. You know, he had an edge to him with his teammates. He was demanding of everybody. He was going to give himself up to make every play he could possibly make, and just his swagger around the building. It really wore on our football team.
I just think people liked his intensity. People loved watching Cushing play. And his teammates would talk about how he was in the locker room, especially before games, the fire-breathing dragon that he was. But when he went out there, you know, you saw it. He's a Tasmanian devil.
The scramble out to the left, and he's brought down by Cushing in the backfield.
Before Brian Cushing became an NFL linebacker, his love for sports began in Park Ridge, New Jersey, where he attended famed Bergen Catholic High School.
Growing up, I was the first person in my family to actually play football. It was about 3rd grade I started. It was something I took a liking to right away. I loved the competitiveness, I loved the physicality, and I just loved the game. It was about high school, which I decided football was was going to be my sport. It was what I was going to try to eventually make it professionally, and it was something that I couldn't stop thinking about all the time.
Following his graduation from Bergen Catholic, Cushing moved on to greater challenges by taking his love for the game to the West Coast.
USC was an interesting experience. I traveled 3,000 miles away from home to go play football at the time, the #1 team in the country. It was a challenge. It was very tough, physically and mentally. It was a grind. It was tough to be that far away from my family, but it was 4 of the best years of my life, being on my own, growing up, and learning a lot about myself at an incredible university.
You know, you go back and look at Brian's history and how he grew up, a high school player, and how he got to SC, how he went from a safety to a linebacker. And Brian did everything he possibly could do to become a great football player, and how he trained and how he worked. And the way he played, you wonder if he's going to hold up. That was the biggest thing, but that's the only way Brian knew how to play the game.
Cushing would later go on to be drafted 15th overall in the 2009 NFL Draft, where a new opportunity awaited.
Coming to the Houston Texans was a little bit of an unknown for me. I had been to Texas before, but only Dallas. So this is my first time in Houston. But I was extremely excited for the opportunity, especially with a team that was new, kind of was trying to find its identity and figure itself out. I fell in love with Coach Kubiak right away. I fell in love with the city of Houston, and a lot of the older established guys on the team at the time, D'Amico Ryans, Matt Shaw, Mario Williams, all just embraced me from day one. Thought I could help the team, and that was my #1 objective.
When he walked in, there was an air about him and confidence about him. I remember when we brought him in right after we drafted him, it was like, Coach, let's go. There was nothing bright-eyed about Brian being a pro footballer, walking around an NFL building. Brian had those type of expectations.
Cushing's there to sack him. Brian Cushing does the job. Blasted by Brian Cushing. Cushing gets there first, a TFL.
It didn't take long for Cushing to get acclimated to the Texans defense. In his first year in the NFL, he made the NFL All-Rookie team and was named AP Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Rookie year was special. I think any rookie really just wants to come in and contribute and be a good teammate. So to be able to make an immediate impact was very fulfilling. I wanted to help the franchise eventually get to the playoffs and just be a competitor. And that was the most important thing to me. So to come here my rookie year and really just establish myself and help the team was meant a lot to me.
Cushing evolved into not only a great linebacker, but a leader on the defensive side of the ball, and that unit's soul.
When I came in, I watched the year before, the team from the year before, and the players from the year before, and when we started training camp, I showed the defensive team some plays that Cushing was playing. I just said, watch this guy. And I had several plays. I said, if everybody plays like this guy, we're going to have a good defense.
One thing to be a good player, and then it's another thing to kind of elevate your game to the next level to become a leader. It was something that I wanted to do right away, but as everyone knows, as a rookie, it's kind of tough. You need to be a little bit more established. So it takes a lot of reps, it takes years to be a leader, and it takes your word to mean something. And there's a lot of categories that you have to check in order to be a leader, but I felt it came naturally.
In Cushing's third year, the Texans won the AFC South and made the playoffs, led by a defense known as Bulls on Parade.
Being a part of a team that was the first to do it as an organization, not many people can say that. To be able just to establish a culture and kind of change the mindset of the entire organization and city, to now know there was a proven winner in town, and we were just only going to build from there. I think a lot of 2011 was about an attitude, was about establishing a brand of a defense that we wanted to be. And Wade brought an incredible scheme in here with a bunch of great assistant coaches, and we found the right personnel. We played really well together. There was a ton of just consistency in our play, but most importantly, these guys loved playing with each other.
There's a flag down. Brian Cushing has his helmet off. He's bleeding a lot.
I look like a psycho. I'm just gonna keep my helmet on for the rest of the game. Yeah, I'm the smart guy that headbutts someone with no helmet on.
It's funny because when you look at some of the great players in the history of this franchise, some of their big moments that you remember the most aren't necessarily the big plays. With Brian Cushing, what do you think about? Bloody face against Cleveland. When he headbutted a guy, he's extremely tough. And he's the leading tackler in the history of this franchise. He's part of so many big moments.
During his time with the Texans, Cushing played with a fearless nature that permeated throughout the entire team. The New Jersey native left an impact that will be remembered by the Texans for years to come.
He was a wild man. I mean, he seemed like he was, but he really knew what he was doing. Now, when he butted the guy in the head, I worried about him a little bit then, but the rest of the time I thought, this guy, he can really play and he knows what he's doing. But
well, he was fire, that's what he was. And that's the way he played the game. And, just very proud of him. I love what he stood for. And Brian's personality took a part of our football team that, maybe nobody else could have given us, so he deserves a lot of credit for that.
Running to his left, brought down to the backfield by Brian Cushing. Cushing has a backfield blast.
The player that I wanted to be was competitive and consistent. You want to be someone that your teammates can count on, to know that they know exactly what to expect out of you every single day, and the coaches. There wasn't a practice, there wasn't a play, there wasn't a game that I wanted to take off. Whatever I did, it was full go. And that was the most important thing to me, was I couldn't turn it off. You knew what you were going to get out of me, and that's what I wanted to bring every day.
After the break, we're going camping. Texans 360 rolls on. We're back in the Ford Studios. It's Texans 360, Drew Dougherty and Marc Vandermeer. It's the time of the year when camps are going on of all sorts. What was your favorite camp you went to when you were little?
YMCA camp, because they gave us free sodas, and I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world as a little kid. And the second year I went, when I told my mom I want to go because of the free soda, she got really mad at me. But YMCA camp was awesome.
It's pretty good. I went to a baseball camp. They gave not free sodas, but free baseball cards when you played well. Anywho, that's neither here nor there. But the Houston Texans had their youth camps, both flag football and tackle, recently, and a lot of fun was had by some of the kiddos at the Houston Methodist Training Center.
Stop. We're here to work.
The Texans every year, they've done an outstanding job of putting together a youth football camp for the community and for the city at large. We have two divisions. We have a youth flag league for the kids from anywhere from 6 all the way up to 13 or 14 years old. Then they have a tackle division where we teach the fundamentals of football and introduce proper techniques to play football safely.
Today we started off with a little 40-yard dash competition, and we do our autograph session with the players that come in. And then we like to finish the day out playing a little ball at the end of the day.
I am not letting you go anywhere, sir. Oh, yeah!
The Texans have always been about the community and opening up their facilities and getting people and fans involved. Actually, I think it's just a great deal. I mean, getting kids out here where the Texans practice, learning a little bit of football. The kids enjoy it, and I really believe the parents enjoy it too.
So I was a small guy, but just keep working hard and having fun, guys. Keep working hard and having fun.
All right, man, appreciate it.
In just a moment, we chat with receivers coach Robert Prince. That's next on Texans 360. Texans 360 rolls on. Drew, Marc, and many new faces on the coaching staff this year. And as we ramp into camp, who's got you most intrigued as an assistant?
Well, that's a really great question.
There's lots of ways you can go with it.
I like Tim Kelly in year 3 as an offensive coordinator after having the experience of sort of doing it by himself in a large part last year after week 4 and seeing the results of that, seeing what he's going to do with this mix of players. I think Pep Hamilton as a quarterback's coach, guy who's been a coordinator. And then you look at the defensive side of the ball with Lovey, who's been a head coach, obviously, at a very high level, Super Bowl appearance. I love what he can add to that side of the ball. So I guess I didn't give you a real specific zoned-in answer. I'm excited about a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, you can make an argument for every single assistant on the staff. I'm going to go with offensive line coach James Campen because he's got the pedigree, he's got the Super Bowl ring. He's got some intriguing pieces, I think. in left tackle Laramie Tunsil, who's an all-pro caliber guy out there, and then a lot of guys to the right of him who are going to mix and match in, a lot of hungry guys. So I can't wait to see what that offensive line does, what he does with it, and how that kind of fuels the rest of the team, Mark.
Might be the most talented position group on the team, by the way, the offensive line. But I think wide receiver is in contention because you still have our buddy Brandon Cooks coming back, which is going to be nice. And Robert Prince.
Yeah.
Robert Prince is the coach of the wide receivers. He's been around the block, Drew. He coached Megatron in Detroit. He's been an assistant quarterbacks coach as well. Back in Atlanta with our buddy Greg Knapp and Bill Musgrave, coaching Matt Schaub back in the day and Michael Vick. How about that? So he's been around, also coached in Japan.
Yeah.
He's half Japanese. I think it's fascinating. It's kind of like the first rollerball movie with Jonathan E. playing for Houston. Is that too esoteric a reference there? But he coached a corporate team in Japan. I think it's fascinating stuff, and it was wonderful to catch up with him. A lot of these guys, this is an interesting thing about this staff, being so new.
Yeah.
You get all these stories, and many of them you haven't heard before with some of these coaches, so you dig deep and you find out little nuggets like this.
In a lot of ways, Prince has a very similar background to Cully in that he's been in the NFL for a while now, a couple decades, but before that, he ping-ponged around in college, too.
Yeah.
Basically, he took a tour of the great Northwest part of this country, the Pacific Northwest. So a very storied career now, a very well-traveled career, and he's going to see what he can do with these pass catchers for the Houston Texans. John Harris, got a chance to catch up with him, go 1-on-2, I guess, and here's what ensued.
Texans wide receivers coach Robert Prince with us on Texans Radio. Coach, how's it going? Coaching in the offseason, coaching your group so far?
It's been great to work with these guys. First of all, those guys, they're very willing workers and learners. And, we've been trying to put on a clinic every day with different techniques.
What do you work on with the guys this time of year, and how is that different from what you'll be doing in training camp, other than the fact that you'll be wearing pads a bit in training camp, Coach?
Well, the thing that's great right now is we can slow things down and really work on our fundamentals. And, Coach Cully's a big believer in fundamentals, and that's what we're working on. We're working on from stance and start to the stem of the route, to the breakdown, to the catch, and our blocking technique. It's great to be able to take our time and really work on those fundamentals.
Coach, we talk all the time about when players go from place to place, they've got to learn a new offense. But coaches sometimes have to learn a new offense too. How is that transition for you, learning the new offense, the new verbiage, and everything that goes with it?
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of times, there's different words for same things that we've done. Someone might call it peanut butter, someone calls it jelly. Just got to kind of translate it in your head. And, I say the synapses are sometimes a little bit further apart, and, just got to get used to the terminology. And, just like with the players, coaches got to get used to it as well.
Well, this probably happens in a lot of situations. You've coached a lot of good receivers, but here you have Brandon Cooks, who's an established veteran. You also have Nico Collins, rookie, coming in. So tell us a little bit about the group and what you see so far in them anyway, Coach.
Like I said at the beginning, all of them are willing learners, including Brandon and the other veterans. Just trying to learn the fundamentals and the techniques that we're talking about now going forward, and they're all willing to work. And Brandon's, been the leader of the guys, and when they see him, how he works, they're like, okay, they're going to fall in line.
So you were in Atlanta when our buddy Matt Schaub was there as the quarterback. You were assistant quarterbacks coach?
Yeah, so I was in Atlanta 2004, 5, 6. Tell you what, if you want a Matt Schaub story, I love Matt Schaub. So, I tell this story to this day. So I used to have to, date myself. We used to fax the game plan to the guys Tuesday night.
Right.
And then, so Wednesday morning when they come in, in the quarterback meeting, you could say to Shabby, say, hey, Shabby, how are we running Z drive this week? And he said, okay, hey, we're going to go double Z short, or we're also going to run it out of trips. He could tell you either way. You can ask him, hey, what plays are we running out of, trips right, Z short, or whatever. And he could just Rolodex in his head, just a smart guy. There was also a clip where we said, hey, listen, this play, we run this play. If you get two-man, understand, you got to be your own check down and you got to take off running. And sure enough, I think it was like the third preseason game. Maybe we're playing Minnesota. They played two-man, and then he takes off and runs. I'm like, so that guy's going to be a good player one day.
And he was good for us. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Best of luck.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys.
The Houston Texans cheerleaders are getting set for 2021. Check out the making of the squad after this quick break. Texans 360, Drew Dougherty, Marc Vandermeer. You know, the Texans had a tough season on the field, 4-12. But you know who was undefeated last season?
The cheerleaders.
Houston Texans cheerleaders. Undefeated since 2002. But who's going to be on the squad in 2021? It's a rigorous ordeal to get onto the squad. They go through quite a bit to do it. Here is a vlog from round 3 of Houston Texans cheerleader tryouts.
Hi, I'm Coach Casey. We're here at round 3 of Houston Texans cheerleader tryouts. We've been judging these candidates for a few weeks now virtually, and we cannot wait to see what they have in person today at Texans Fit. Let's go Texans!
What's up, you guys? My name is Shakia. Hi, I'm Jackie. Shelby. And we're here at Texans Fit for the HTC 2021 audition. We're so excited. Let's go Texans!
We just finished our round 3 audition and we're so excited, and good luck to everyone else auditioning. Go Texans!
Go Texans!
Good luck, everyone!
That's going to do it for this week's show. We really do appreciate you watching. A week from Sunday night, it's one of this guy's favorite nights of the year. It's up on the top 10 favorite Marc Vandermeer nights.
NFL Films Texans special, and I thought, what are you going to do with 4 and 12? But they did a lot, Drew. It's going to be exciting. They look at the 2021 Texans in depth. It's going to be fun.
Can't wait. Thanks so much to everyone who put this show together, like Tyler Marcotte and Mitchell Moreland. Until next time, we'll see you, and go Texans. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.